Good morning, friends, and welcome to Activist Collective. This is episode 30. We made it 30 whole episodes since we started this journey, and I am proud of us. I would like to thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving voice to equality and fairness. As I sit here today, Donald Trump has just made a statement that he plans on labeling the anti-fascist movement as a terrorist organization and Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is mind-boggling. We knew that for years they had been trying to relabel, redefine what fascism is. And let me be clear, around the world, there is one definition of fascism, and when people think of what fascism is, they think of one man. He is the not the father of fascism, but the most fascist motherfucker to ever live, Hitler. Hitler. The man who unalived millions of people because they weren't white enough, they weren't straight enough, they weren't Christian enough. That is what we are dealing with here. This administration is trying to redefine fascism so they don't look so bad. Now, that dumb motherfucker who killed Charlie, I'm just going off of the evidence they're telling us. Whether I believe them or not is another thing. Okay, I don't want to spend this episode will not be about Charlie Kirk, I promise you. But that boy, that man-child, supposedly etched on a bullet, catch this fascist, right? And that was all they needed. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and being able to label the anti-fascist movement as a terrorist organization. So what I want to do, friends, in the first part of the show is talk about what fascism is, what it is around the world, to everybody in the world except for Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and his little cronies, okay? I want you to understand that there is a small group of people, Donald Trump and his little friends, just a small group, who are labeling fascism as the people who want freedom, democracy, equality, fairness, human rights. They're trying to redefine what that fascism is. So I'm going to pull up a graphic for you, so bear with me while we do that. Okay, friends, so what is fascism? This graphic, I just pulled off the internet. Fascism is a political ideology characterized by a dictatorial power, extreme nationalism, and suppression of individual freedoms. I don't think I need to give you examples for all of these, but you can clearly see this happening. You can clearly see the right cheering on the removal of freedoms from some while others remain. We see that happening. We're not blind. We're watching it. It's happening in real time. So let's not pretend like that isn't happening. Fascism promotes a strong, centralized government led by a single leader, Donald Trump, right? Centralized figure. That's him. Often emphasizing the nation's collective identity and sense of superiority. How many times does the man say that America is the best country in the world? We've been fucked over by other countries. We're taking our power back. We're the best. We make the most. We do the most. We have the best this. That's part of it, right? And then fascist regimes, rely on propaganda, censorship, and control over institutions to maintain control. They often exhibit militaristic tendencies, fostering aggressive foreign policies. Bitch, what? That literally just described everything this administration is doing. But I want to pull up another graphic for you, so stand by. Okay, so now what I want to do is pull up the characteristics again. Bear with me while I get this done. Okay, authoritarianism. I'm going to pull up that graphic. Fascism advocates for strong centralized power, often led by a single leader or party with limited or no accountability. It's like they know them. Nationalism. Fascist ideologies emphasize a fervent loyalty and devotion to the nation, promoting a sense of superiority and often emphasizing cultural or ethnic purity. And then totalitarianism. Fascist regimes aim to control and regulate all aspects of society, including politics, the economy, and individual lives. We are again seeing this playing out in America right now. We are the topic of discussion globally because the American people are letting all of this go by, going about their day-to-day lives, letting this happen. Now, yes, the protests are getting bigger and more and louder, and it's only pissing off the fascists. That's what they are. Suppression of dissent. Here we go. Fascism seeks to silence or eliminate opposition, often through censorship, propaganda, and the use of force. What just happened to Jimmy Kimmel? What happened to Stephen Colbert? Friends, what happened to Stephen Colbert is exactly what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel. They spoke out in opposition, they hurt the leader's feelers, and now Brendan Carr, the head of the FCC, threatened NBC and Disney, said, if you don't pull him, I'm pulling your license to air anything. And they were like, oh, I guess we're pulling him. Instead of saying, hey, we've got more money than Jesus Christ, we're going to take this to court. We're going to put the Supreme Court to the ultimate test right now. And instead, they bent the knee. The last one is militarism. I don't think we need to. I'll read it, but it's all happening in your own cities. Fascist ideologies frequently glorify military strength, expansionism, and aggressive foreign policies, or viewing war as a means to achieve national greatness. The Department of War, blowing up ships and boats in Venezuela without any evidence to prove their claims. Sending the military into the cities, sending the Marines into the cities, taking over, the police force in Washington, D.C. Friends, they want to label fascism as a terrorist movement because if you looked hard enough, for you and I, we don't have to look that hard, but for other people, if they looked hard enough at the reality of it, what the globe is thinking, they would realize what they've done, right? So, you cannot change the definition of what fascism is. You cannot change it. You cannot change what this administration is doing. We have to vote. We have to vote. I don't know how we stop this. I don't know how we make these people see reason. You've got Stephen Miller in that man's ear on a daily basis. You know who's writing these policies? Do you know who's writing these EOs? Stephen Miller. The man who, when people talk about him as a child, they say he was weird. No one liked him. This man has such a Napoleon complex, and now he's on a power trip unlike anything we have seen in this fucking half century. Okay? I don't want people to go quiet because of what this man is trying to do. We need to get the definition into the mainstream now. We have to get the definition of it into the mainstream. Everybody needs to know it, understand it, see it for what it is. I'll tell you what's going to happen now. No, I won't say it. I'm not going to say it. There are just some things I shouldn't say. All right, friends, I'll be back. So, Benjamin Netanyahu took to Twitter to post a video in defense of himself and Israel. Because as I stated earlier, there is a big rumor going around that they were somehow involved. Nobody knows that. We'll never know that. We'll never know that. What I do know is that that person they arrested isn't talking. What I do know is that they provided us with a ridiculous script. Friends, if I read this script to you, it sounds like a terrible, like if you told ChatGPT to write a script without, saying, write it like a Gen Z person, write it this way. It is so terrible. It is so terrible. I'm going to pull it up. You bear with me while I do this. Tyler Robinson. It reads like a bad script, and I'm going to read it for you because you need to hear it. And I'm going to read it exactly the way that it's written, okay? This sounds to me completely made up. Tyler, I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem, O-R-E-M, not sure what that is. Sounds like a gaming reference. For a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be too long until I can come home. But I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret until I died of old age. I'm very sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? I am sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. One vehicle lingering. Who speaks like that? Certainly not Gen Z, right? Question, our roommate says, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. I've had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Now, pause for a moment. I feel like he left evidence, and it was like intentional evidence. He left those shell casings on the roof with the scrawlings. I will have left no evidence. What do you mean? So whoever wrote this is lying, because the scrawled on bullets were left on the roof. That is evidence left behind. So who's lying? Him or them? Anyway, so he says, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. Also, squad car seems like odd language. Anyway, I think they already swept the spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in the bush where I changed my outfit. Where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. Ellipses. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Old man seems again a strange reference. Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see, quote, notices bulge ooh-woo, whatever the fuck that means, on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. In another version of this that I have read online, he says, I gotta go. My dad's calling me. Grandpa wants to know where the rifle is. They showed a picture. I mean, I don't know what to believe. So that sounds completely and totally made up, in my personal opinion. I don't know what to believe. But I certainly know this. Donald Trump has been trying to redefine fascism by forcing a definition into his cult that points a finger at us, people on the left, people who vote for Democrats, people who want human rights, people who want to end gun violence and protect our children and protect people in America who just want to go out to an event, have a night at a concert. People can't go anywhere anymore. The shootings are daily, friends. They're daily. There are more guns in this country than there are people, and the American people are fed up. We're fed up with the outrage for Charlie Kirk, but not a single tear shed for the hundreds and thousands of children who die by gun violence every year because this administration, these people refuse to care about them. And then they yell at us for not having any sympathy or empathy for Charlie Kirk himself. Yet you couldn't muster a fucking tear for babies who you claim to want to protect. Unreal shit happening. This country is whole body into crossing the line of fascism and dictatorship. We're here. And I want you to make no mistake, friends. The world knows what fascism is. The world knows that Donald Trump is trying to rule in that fashion. And just because Donald Trump and his minions want to change the definition, point the finger at people who just want to protect everybody, which includes red hats, we are not going to be taking on that definition. We have to get the definition into the mainstream and make sure everyone knows that that is the global understanding. The global understanding of what fascism is, and the people in the world are pointing a finger at this administration as being fascist. And this anti-fascist movement is not a thing. It's not a thing. It's never been a thing. It's not a club. It's not a group. They don't have a headquarters. There isn't a president or a treasurer. No one takes down notes. It is just people who don't want fascism. And if you are a person who wants fascism, please seek help. Please seek help, because your whiteness will only protect you for so long. You have children, you have family members who may not align with you politically. You don't know who your children will be when they grow up, and will they then become a target of the people you put there? Let's use our heads, America, because that's not been fucking happening, that's for sure. Ready? Here it is.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political.
Every single American. Sorry, I just played it from my TikTok video. He basically just said that this administration is doing everything they can to pin this child, this man-child, and his actions on the left. Instead of owning up to the fact that this boy was raised in a MAGA house. He was raised exactly the way that they want us to be raising our children, in fact. So Brendan Carr, who was chosen to be the head of the FCC by Donald Trump, a MAGA sycophant, another MAGA sycophant, and there's a history behind him as well, but we're not going to get into it. When he chose him, we talked at length, friends. People were making videos talking at length about this foreshadowing of what would come. He would, silence the voices of people on air. This was going to become a state-run media country because we knew that he would start polling people. Now, Jimmy Kimmel's poll was really abrupt, right? It was super abrupt. But a very similar thing happened to Stephen Colbert. They didn't like what he was saying, and even Donald Trump owned up to doing it. He said, that's mine. I did that. I got you fired. I got your show canceled. And his show isn't canceled until May, basically. But Disney, ABC, they just bent the knee and fired the man. If they had a problem with what he said, they would have done it on Monday, not fucking Wednesday night. They waited until a complaint came in. We have a right to free speech. We have a right to say the things we need to say. And if we can't say them, then our free speech no longer exists, America. And that's the problem I'm having. So last night, God, I'm so frustrated. I'm trying not to lie. So last night, Jimmy Kimmel's show was pulled off the air indefinitely because he said, let me play you the audio right now.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political
points. That's what he said. That's it. That's what got him off the air. Now, friends, the last thing I want to talk about before we go and begin our days or end our nights or whatever you plan to do with this TikTok podcast is talk about political violence. I don't want to talk about Charlie Kirk. I want to talk about the violence as a whole. Charlie Kirk was a symptom of a bigger problem. We have got people at the top going, we cannot condone political violence, while they're punching down on the little people who are trying to survive, watching their grocery prices skyrocket, watching their energy prices double and triple. These families are busting their asses to take care of their families with not a fucking break in sight. While this administration lies to the faces of American people, and life just continues to get harder. People are struggling. They have less access to mental health care. Veterans, our poor veterans, are losing their homes. They're losing their psychiatrists. Their doctors are being fired. I don't know how you can say, we got to stop all this. This is terrible, and do nothing about it. In fact, make it worse. This country is sick. The root of the problem is festering, and this infection is flowing through the veins of the American democratic system. And if we don't address it, it is not going to get better. It will get worse. Before I move on, I want you to know that I do not condone, I condemn in the harshest possible language any political violence whatsoever. I do not agree with political violence, not on the left, not on the right, not by anybody, and not onto anyone. Okay? If we can't have political differences without violence, then it's not political anymore, friends. We're dealing with freedom and fascism. Okay, so I don't claim to know everything, but I do know that as a suburban white woman, I watch microaggressions happen around me. I watch racist acts happen around me. For fuck's sake, they just found another black boy hanging from a tree at his college out by the pickleball courts. And they go on to say, oh, it was self-done. Every single black person I have watched make a video about this says the same thing. Black people aren't going to hang themselves from a fucking tree if they're going to do something like that. When you see that, it is a clear message. They are sending you a message. The Cato Institute, a libertarian think tank, did a study on political violence. People charged, arrested for political violence. And of those criminally charged political violent actors, 63% of them were from the right wing. 63%. I believe that even more of that violence is from the right. And I don't mean to point fingers, friends. I am speaking to you with factual data. I'm not saying because I don't want the left to be targeted or the finger pointed at them. If the left does something, I will point the finger at them. I will point it right back at myself and say, hey, we need to address this. These are not things we do. But the facts remain that the political violence has been coming from the right in droves. And they continue to point the finger at the left. And even though they can point the finger all they want, but the data gets taken down, okay? If a man has a political leaning before an event takes place, all that data gets taken down. So you can say what you want. You can make videos all you want, try to change the narrative all you want. But when that data comes out, it very clearly states their political leanings and their ideology and why they did it. We have got to address the root cause in this problem. Mothers, you need to start, and fathers, start looking at what your children are doing on the internet. What are they reading? What are they being indoctrinated with? Are they looking at red pill content? Has it slipped into black pill content? Are they watching Nick Fuentes? When he screamed, "Your body, my choice," how many little boys across the nation thought it was cool and started screaming that to little girls at school? It was happening in the elementary school. They know who Nick Fuentes is. And that man is a full-blown anti-Semite and racist. He was a man who got famous because he attended that Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. And he found his people there. And then he moved further away from the right because the right wasn't right enough. If your child is listening to Nick Fuentes, you have a problem. Show your kid their face. Do you know who this is? Have you heard him speak? What do you think about what he says? Correct the misinformation. We need to stop putting our children's faces in their iPads, in their phones, to occupy them, because what's happening is Nick Fuentes is coming up in their chats. And by the way, I have a daughter who has a phone, which we check, and all that. But you can look in your text messages. You're not going to see shit. You're going to see text messages from grandma, from you, from family. These kids are hanging out in Discords. They are not texting back and forth. They are in chat groups. Okay? So please make sure you are looking at their applications. If they have a Discord, you go into that Discord and you see what they're saying. You see what they're talking about. It is time to pull the reins on our children's internet usage, because what they're hearing is racist. It's violent. It's joking culture. It would be funny if somebody did this, and some dumb shit goes and does it. There's no value for life, for decency. There's a lot of bullying that takes place. Your kids are learning bullying behavior. Even though you taught them not to be bullies, they're learning bullying behavior. We have got to address the root cause, and that is bringing up men in this country to respect women, to see us as their equals, to stop this toxic masculinity. It is okay to have feelings. It is okay to talk about it. And when someone tells you no, no is the answer, period. Let it go. We're getting, women being murdered by men because they wouldn't go out on a date with them. I mean, the violence in this country is mostly being committed by men. So I believe the root cause of the problem is toxic masculinity, racism, homophobia, and of course we got to throw religion into the mix. All of those things combined, intertwined, make this giant ball of hate, and it is festering. And it's got to be controlled. And if what Charlie Kirk was doing was continuing this cycle of toxic masculinity and racism and women belong in the kitchen, and if you have an abortion you're a murderer, and I mean, he was continuing this mindset into the young minds of very influential people, young children, or not young, but between the ages of 16 to 19 years old. These kids are absorbing this content, and when Charlie Kirk comes to your campus, well, that's an event. You're going to go listen. And that's what's happening, kids. Charlie Kirk was continuing this this spiraling ball of hate as it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, sadly, that he's gone, but we have an opportunity to roll it back, right? We have an opportunity to say, hey, college child, I know you're growing up and doing your own things, but we need to talk about this. We need to have this discussion right now. I need to know these things, and we need to talk about these other things. And it's got to be done. It's got to be done. If you have a kid that you don't really talk with, make it happen. Make it happen. Dads, same. This is for everybody, every parent. I'm not talking to moms or dads separately. I'm talking to you both. You are parents. Handle this. If you want your children growing up in a violent country, then the American people will do nothing. But I'm telling you right now, the root cause of this problem in this country is men thinking they are superior, that women belong in the kitchen, racism, white supremacy, and bigotry, homophobia, all of these things. And it's all being espoused by people like Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes to an even larger degree. This administration to an even larger degree. Right? I mean, Charlie Kirk spewed some hateful shit, but our president has spewed even more hateful shit. So it's coming from all angles, and we've got to talk to our kids about what's happening in the world and protecting them and protecting their peace and cutting out people in their lives who are bad influences on them or who put them in situations, where they're either going to get hurt or whatever. Men, young boys growing up to be men, you're more of a man when you can admit that you have feelings, when you deal with your anger in an efficient, effective way, when you can talk and communicate properly, when you can take no for an answer, when you can understand that women are your equals. We would make the best team. Men and women together could make the best team if we stopped this ideological belief that women are just a little bit less important than men. Women are amazing creatures. We are magnificent creatures, and we can do everything they can do. Gatekeeping your construction jobs doesn't mean we can't do them. It means you gatekept them. It means you made it uncomfortable for women to be there so they don't go there. Blessed be the women who work in construction. You are badasses, and I love you. But that's my 2 cents on the matter, friends. Do the work with your children now. Because whatever's happening out there in the world may be unfixable, but we can start here with us, with our kids at this level, and maybe it'll branch out and spiral out in a good way. But this festering ball of hate and bigotry and racism and all those things only grew under the tutelage of Charlie Kirk. So we need to undo that knotted up mess. Fix our country. And remember, the power that this country holds is in the people. Donald Trump can sit in an Oval Office and from on high say, I deem you this. And it doesn't make it true. The power is with the people. People who are anti-fascist are not terrorists. They are the people who want peace on earth. They want human rights and equality and fairness, and that's not terrorism, friends. So spread the word, spread the love, spread the joy. If you can find a MAGA willing to talk to you, talk to them. If you can find a MAGA willing to discuss truth and facts and evidence without getting into a shouting match, talk to them. If you're out here on these internet streets hosting these debate lives, I got to tell you, I don't know what good we're doing when you invite a MAGA person up and then you immediately start yelling at them and calling them horrific names. I have seen some people on the left doing nothing but stoking anger, being the antagonist. And it's not doing anyone any good. And for a lesbian married to a woman with a daughter, that type of shit really does put marginalized groups in the crosshairs. If you've angered them so much, instead of having a fruitful conversation, you just start yelling at them and calling them names instead of having a conversation that may be uncomfortable. You put other people in the crosshairs. So, do your lives, do whatever you want to do, but be smart about it. We're trying to help the country not make things worse by being antagonistic. Okay, friends, I'm going to bust out of here. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. I know it's hard to say that because I know we're not. We're going to sit here and stew over the world's problems, but love your family, spread some peace, spread some joy, and try to do something fun. Whatever that may be, touch grass. Go lay in the ground and look at clouds. Do something to get your mind off of what's going on. I love you all. I just want to say, for those of you who have subscribed to my Substack, you are angels, pure angels. It's like $8 a month, and it just helps pay for everything. It just helps pay for everything. I will not make people pay to listen to this podcast, but if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that at my Substack, and all proceeds go right back to my family, and it is greatly appreciated. At the end of this, you'll see a QR code for my Cash App and my Venmo if you want to donate that way. And on all my socials, my link tree is available there for easier access. I appreciate everyone's time. I love you with my whole heart. Please keep in mind, TikTok is going away. So share my podcast, share my socials. If you want other people following over here, someone to talk to about the podcast, we got to get the word out. And if TikTok is going away, well, it's not. You can download it, but then you give all your information to Oracle. And I can't do that, friends. I can't bring myself to do that. So TikTok will be going away for me. But you know how I love you, and we'll be in touch.